Ericsson. Ali! There was an air of inevitability about that.
Hello and welcome to There's Only One Spurs podcast. This is a new podcast made by Tottenham fans for Tottenham fans. I'm Ollie. I own Tottenham.fan page on Instagram. It's probably where most of you will be listening from. And this is a new podcast, as I say. We're going to be doing it weekly, hopefully. We're going to be reviewing games, previewing games, talking about transfers, everything there is Spurs, really. So this week's episode, we have 2 Spurs fans and 1 non-Spurs fan. A bit of a well-rounded view. We have Tom and Matt, who are the Spurs fans. Hello, guys.
Hello.
And we've also got Louis, who is a Nottingham Forest fan. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. So first thing I'd like to talk about is the Newcastle game. Matt, we beat Newcastle 2-0, newly promoted. What were your thoughts?
We did. I thought the first half was very weak from us.
Yeah.
I was watching it, and I don't normally watch Spurs games. I watch the highlights. And what I found is the first 15 minutes, they were just coming at us. And we just were trying to find ways to get the ball away. Yeah. And that wasn't like the Spurs that I saw last season, because we were like the one that everyone was fearing going forward. Like, we had the best defensive record. We had Kane, Ali, Son, just banging in goals. And then Newcastle came forward almost looking more like we did than ourselves.
Yeah. That's the thing. Spurs always seem to start off slow, and I was very worried about this game. I did not think we were going to get a win.
Yeah, we have a weak August, like all the time.
Especially,
so
I saw a fact, Spurs have for the last 8 seasons, Spurs have played away on the first game of the season, and Harry Kane's never scored a goal in August. You know, it's just always seems to be a hard start for Spurs.
But what I will say is, second half was a lot better.
Yeah.
Kyle Walker-Peters, I'd never heard of him before. I saw the lineup and thought, oh god, they're going to be coming out us down the left flank. Like, that's an easy threat.
Yeah.
But then he actually played so well.
Yeah, man of the match performance.
Yeah. There's been rumours of us like needing to fill that spot. But with how good Trippier is and having him as a backup, I don't know if it'll be necessary. Yeah, it's always good to add depth, but I think he deserves to play after a performance like that.
Well, especially when Pochettino said like a week before that he didn't think Kyle Walker-Peters was ready for the Premier League. Then he starts him and he gets man of the match. It's
yeah, because for a youngster, your first game is normally the one where you don't want to mess up.
Yeah. And
like, you're very cautious. But he had a lot of space to run into. He was crossing balls in. I thought he did really well.
Yeah, I was very, very pleased with the performance. Louis, you're not a Spurs fan. What do you think of the result, and what do you think of the game?
I did see a major improvement in Tottenham's attack. Mainly Dele Alli. He was a complete nuisance to the whole of the Newcastle side. One major incident, obviously, was the John Joe Shelvey stamp thing.
Yeah, the red card.
Which was absolutely disgusting, wasn't it, really? But
it was. I don't think anyone had any... No one disagrees. It was a red card, I think.
Yeah. But yes, overall Spurs were really good. Like, obviously, I didn't watch the whole game. It was just on Match of the Day, so it's only key highlights. But from what I saw, Tottenham were really good that game.
Yeah, the first half, I think it was the red card, really. The red card really did help. It made us a lot more confident.
Yeah. He got sent off against Forest as well last season.
Did he?
Yeah, he stamped Henry Lansbury.
Yeah, I don't.
God, he needs to cool his head.
I don't think he's. I don't think he's the nicest guy ever, and especially as a captain, like, you just don't expect someone to do that.
No, because as a captain, you're meant to keep a cool head. You've got to lead the team, and that's not leading by example.
Exactly.
Kind of stamping on people's ankles. You need to set the example.
Yeah, exactly. Credit to Dele Alli. I think without Dele Alli winding him up and pissing him off, I don't think Shelby would have been sent off. So
Kane wasn't as good that game, I don't think.
No, he
was quite quiet, I think.
I heard something that he hasn't scored in August.
No,
ever.
No.
Never scored in August.
He had 2 chances. One was he put straight at the keeper. One he hit the post.
Yeah.
Oh, that put it straight at the keeper shot. It should have been in. His back was turned to the goalkeeper, so you've got to kind of let him off for that. But at the same time, how clinical he was last season, that would have been a goal if it was like against Leicester at the end of the season.
Yeah.
I think we're just trying to get back into like how we were last season, and I think with the competition getting stronger, we're probably going to struggle.
Yeah, well, there is, as we'll talk about later on, there are a few transfers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Spurs haven't signed anyone yet, have they?
Not yet.
Anyway, yeah, I thought the Newcastle result was overall. I think we did well to get the 3 points, considering how the game started.
Yeah, so you can
But by the end of it, like we got into the swing of it. Like I think by about the 75th minute, the game was ours, and we were just passing it around calmly at the back, without any worries. So that was good.
Yeah, man of match performance from Kyle Walker-Peters. Ericsson was sublime again. I think he assisted both goals.
Yeah.
Fantastic. We really need him to perform well this season if we want to do well. But now, looking ahead to Chelsea, it's our next game. It's the first game we're going to be playing this season at Wembley. Tom, what are your thoughts?
It's going to be a tough game. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game, I think. Obviously, first game at Wembley. Last game we played at Wembley was Chelsea 4-2 competitive match. They beat
2 red
us.
cards last game, so
that is the
weakened
thing.
side we're playing.
And Hazard
Yeah.
is out injured, I'm pretty sure.
I don't think we need necessarily an injured side to be able to beat them, but at the same time,
It helps.
if they ever get back to how they were playing last season,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
we were at a constant battle with them just ahead. And like I watched the FA Cup semi-final, and I thought overall we were the better team,
Oh yeah.
but they
yeah.
were just clinical.
Yeah,
And
it was so
I find that's so frustrating with Chelsea because they seem to sit back with their 3 at the back, 3 up front formation, and just busy us in the midfield. So whenever we got the ball to Ali or Ericsson,
Yeah.
they didn't have time to do anything with it because they had either Moses or Alonso stopping anything down the left or right hand
just
side. 3 players in the middle to stop anything.
Yeah, they just get overpowered.
But I do think this is a good time to play Chelsea. Obviously, they lost 2 players last game, and they lost 3-2
Yeah.
to Burnley at home, which was a big
I think that's a
shock.
shocker.
Yeah.
If anything, I think that's going to make them play better
Yeah,
this
well,
weekend.
everyone's saying how they've already thrown away the title after 1 weekend, you know.
No.
Oh, come on.
That's ridiculous thing to say.
Every,
What I will say is like completely
No,
unrelated,
it's not.
but Man
It's
United
over, is it?
Man United are the best I've seen them. So when we play them, I reckon that's going to be our biggest test this season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, everyone, you know, I think David Moyes won his first game in charge of United. Just because they've won 1 game doesn't, you know, you can't tell anything after 1
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
You know, there's, how many games are there? It's like 40 weeks.
No, but if you look at their side now, they've got so many good players now.
Yeah. United are
They're
definitely
bound
going for.
to have to start. Yeah, of course. They're the second richest club in the world.
If they
So,
don't challenge for the title, their season's been a failure.
Do you think?
With the money they've spent and the players they have at their disposal, anything less than 3rd place is an absolute failure. But I think this about Chelsea, City and United, that with the money they spend and the teams they craft, winning the title is the only goal they should have, and anything less than that, they've failed.
Yeah, especially when you see Spurs,
Yeah.
you know. We're, compared to the other top 6 teams, we're pretty poor.
yeah.
We don't have that money. We don't have big, you know, they have the Etihad sponsors, Emirates sponsors, lots of money from the Middle East, and they're finishing 2nd. They're pushing.
Yeah,
for the
we don't
title.
have billionaire owners in the city.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Yeah.
So,
I did see a stat though saying that like the transfer fees for our players in our best 11 is something like 88 million we've spent to get that 11,
Yeah,
and Pogba alone is worth more than that.
exactly.
And with his performances last season, that is just stupid.
Well, the transfer window this window.
He
I
was
want to
shocking,
say is-
wasn't he? Players.
Exactly. The opposition are definitely improving around us, which is quite scary. So before we move on, Chelsea game. What are your score predictions? I will go through one by one. Louis, what score do you predict? Tottenham Chelsea at Wembley. What score?
Considering that they haven't got Fabregas or their captain Cahill, I reckon Tottenham might have the slight advantage over them.
Oh yeah.
But I reckon they're you guys are definitely going to overestimate yourselves. So I'm going to go with a 2-1 Chelsea.
Oh.
Ooh.
Oh.
God,
Yeah.
knocking the side early.
Tom, what do you think?
It's going to be a hard-fought game, but I would say that we're going to win this 3-2,
3-2.
just like
Ooh.
Burnley did.
Lots of goals.
Yeah.
I'm going for a lot less boring, I'm afraid. But I think it will be mainly midfield-dominated game, considering how many players will be compact in that midfield. It'll be about 9 in
Yeah.
total.
Yeah.
I don't think there'll be much going on, but I reckon we'll nick it 1-0.
I'm thinking a 2-1 game. I'm thinking Morata's going to score.
No,
And then we'll bring it
I
back.
Definitely think,
Yeah.
I don't think so. Morata's so overrated. I don't think he's one of those players like Pogba, I think, who aren't made for the Premier League.
He got a goal and an assist though in his Premier League debut.
So, yeah, but it's Burnley, wasn't it? So
Yeah.
you know, it's not like a big side.
They're still lost.
Yeah, they did lose.
Yeah, still.
Yeah.
but yeah, players like Morata and Pogba just aren't made for the Premier League. They're just so overrated, and just
Yeah.
the money spent on them is just insane.
Yeah.
I do rate Morata, because I remember watching him in the
Yes.
Euros, and I think he was top scorer in the Euros for Spain, and they went out group stages.
Very good.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they had a very great tournament, but he still scored many goals.
Yeah.
And I think, but the only thing I think is, with how, as much as I hate him, with how good Diego Costa is, for them to be a direct swap almost, with him leaving the club and Morata coming in, I think Chelsea have got the short end of the stick there.
Yeah, two
Because
different types of players.
he winds up the defenders, for one, and he's just a goal machine.
Yeah.
I definitely prefer to have
He does,
Costa
yeah.
And
still
also
at the club.
with Costa, there's gonna have to be a phase where Morata like beds in and learns the Premier League. With Costa, day one you can just get goals.
Yeah.
Obviously Morata scored in his debut, but I think he'll still
Yeah.
take a little while of learning the Premier League.
Once he does, I reckon he's going to be great.
Yeah.
So now we're done talking about Chelsea's signings. Let's talk about some Spurs signings, or the lack of them.
Yeah.
Today, I'd say that we're most heavily linked with Sanchez, the defender from Ajax. Matt, what are your thoughts on this signing, or possible signing, hopefully?
Well, I don't have much knowledge on the player.
No.
All I do know is he was a constant first choice at Ajax,
Yep.
which is one of the biggest Eredivisie clubs. I don't know how well he'll adjust to playing in the Prem, but I think it's worth us trying to buy someone, because I've always thought a backup centre back is needed,
Yeah.
and I think it's unfair to play Dyer out of position, and I don't rate Wimmer. I think he's irrational,
Yeah.
and he'll mess up, lose the ball, and then take someone down. So I think we should get him. However, I think 35 million is too much.
Well, apparently Ajax are asking for 46 million euros, which is a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Especially he's 21, he's 6'2", he's Colombian, he plays centre back. I think he would be perfect for Spurs. Really, I think he'd replace Dyer in the team. He'd be 3 at the back with Vertonghen and Alderweireld.
I don't know if we need to replace Dyer, because he's such a good player.
In defence,
I think definitely,
do you not think
if we do that, I do. But then at the same time, you've got Wanyama and Dembele to choose from, who I definitely put above Dyer.
But it's good
Yeah.
to have people challenging for the midfield role, you know?
Yeah. We definitely need depth if we want to challenge in the Champions League, and that's what Poch is not doing at the moment,
And that's what
which I
signing
question.
a signing like Sanchez would bring depth, because we'd be able to have Dyer as our support player. And also, if you look at the previous players we bought from Ajax, we've got Eriksen from Ajax, we've got Van der Vaart from Ajax. Obviously, they didn't come from Ajax, but that's where they originally played. Eriksen, Van der Vaart, Alderweireld, Vertonghen, they all played at Ajax, and they're all pretty good for us.
Yeah.
So I'm
They
happy
all
with
are
that.
very good players. The only
Um,
scar I have from the Eredivisie is
Janssen.
Janssen.
Obviously, yeah.
But maybe
he didn't play for Ajax,
he's he needs to gel in to the squad a bit more. But I always find that him and Sissoko have a very similar thing of not wanting to have the ball.
It's just such a lack of confidence, isn't it?
Yeah, they're almost
I know.
scared to do something wrong that they won't try and do something right.
Yeah, and that's all.
Yeah.
Soldado, You know, we used to have him, and he'd try so hard. He didn't really fit in. He didn't do very well at Spurs, but he tried.
So you knew he was bad. But like, we don't know if they tried harder, if they would actually be good enough. But personally, I think we need to improve on both those positions and get those two players out.
If we look 2 seasons back, we saw that Janssen got 30. Correct me if I'm wrong. 30 plus goals playing for AZ, and so we know he can score goals.
Yeah.
So
he was amazing in the Dutch league.
You've got to question the league sometimes, though. I know it's harsh to say, but the Premier League, in my opinion,
and Morata
is the hardest league in the world. But then I question myself with that logic whenever I see English teams playing the Champions League and they just get turned over.
I think the thing with the Premier League is it's just competitive. Like, no matter who you're playing, if you're playing Burnley or if you're playing Man City, you're going to have a hard game. In pretty much every other league in the world, there'll be teams where you just know you'll beat them, and it'll be an easy 3 points.
It's a 2 or 3 horse race in almost every other league.
Yeah, and there's literally this summer, I'd say there's 7 teams that could win the Premier League, and it wouldn't surprise me.
Oh, without a doubt. And then you've got to think of the Leicester wonder story that any of the teams below that could get. So there's every chance that every single team in the league could win, and that's what I like because it's exciting.
It's a lot more physical as well. Like the Spanish league is slower, tactical. You have quite a lot of time on the ball, I think, and in the Premier League there's just no time. Like when I was watching Spurs Newcastle, even playing against Newcastle, Spurs just had no time on the ball. They'd just be pressed from the first minute.
I saw the Newcastle players just rushing and closing us down so quickly, and that was brilliant in my opinion. I thought, wow, they're looking really strong. But I think their centre mid Lascelles, I think, is another player.
Yeah.
He's a very big player. He went in on a tackle on Harry Kane, I think it was, and it was a very rough tackle. But then it turned out a good tackle. So maybe the aggression could be used as a good way to get victories, but I think Shelby took it way too far. Yeah. In my opinion.
Dele Alli said after the game that the boys knew that they were trying to get them into Newcastle were trying to force Spurs into like a physical battle, and Spurs just had to stay calm and carry on playing football and not get not start giving away silly yellow cards and stuff. But another transfer that we're linked with is Ross Barkley from Everton. Personally, I think he'd be fantastic. I think Pochettino can really develop him as a player, as he's done with all the players. As he's done with Rose, as he's done with Walker, as he's done with Vertonghen. The only problem is he's going to be expensive, and he's also, I think it's 6 weeks out. He's just suffered an injury.
Yeah, very injury prone, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think. Okay, so I'll let someone else go first, actually, because
Louis, what
I'm
are
very
yours?
opinionated on it.
As an outsider, do you think Ross Barkley would be good for Spurs?
I personally don't think he would be, because I think he was demanding like something around 150k a week or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is obviously too much for a player. Ross Barkley is well suited to Everton. Due to their play style, I think they're more expressive than. No, actually they're not. But I think Tottenham have already got the players they need. They don't need Ross Barkley. He'd be more of a backup. Like obviously after the first couple of games, he's going to be playing first team. But after that, the attention's going to go away, and he's not going to, he's not going to get fit in the team anymore.
Yeah.
But I just think that's why I think like he'll just get loaned out or something. But I just don't think he'll be a good fit in the Spurs shirt, But
the thing is that Spurs only need backup players at this point. They've got probably the strongest starting 11 in the league, I'd say.
But Tottenham have probably got one of the best youth academies.
Yeah, but
in England. But like obviously, as you were saying, the player you were mentioning, Kyle Walker-Peters earlier, he's come through. I think he's come through the Tottenham academy, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has.
Yeah, exactly. So they're producing world-class players like Harry Kane, So it's just, I don't know. I reckon they could use their academy to their advantage to fill up the bench.
Well, someone we could use instead of Barkley is Marcus Edwards, who he won the under-19 Euros. I think he won this summer. He's meant to be very promising. He looks fantastic. I saw him in one game.
Yeah.
He played. I think he played against Gillingham in the League Cup last year, and he played very well. Plays the same role as Barkley.
Yeah.
Very creative. We've got him at the academy right now. But do you think it's worth trusting, someone, a 20-year-old, 18-year-old, 17-year-old, instead of Ross Barkley, who's proven it for England?
You could say the same for Andros Townsend, who just failed miserably at Tottenham. Just because he's appeared for England a couple of times doesn't make him a world-class player.
Yeah.
I think that Spurs just need to branch out into their academies, or just like I'm not trying to boast or anything, but just like Forest, we've branched out into our academy a lot, and we've sold one of our players for 13 million. Oliver Burke, he went to Leipzig for 13 million. So he barely scored any for us, but it was a good deal, to be fair.
Yeah, I think we should have some faith in our youth academy, but we need to mix that in with some older, more experienced players that will sort of have a bigger influence on the team. And because the older players have Premier League experience, they know how to sort of play in the Premier League.
Exactly, and I genuinely think that Ross Barkley would be a good signing. The only thing that is going to be difficult about it is going to be the wage prices and the transfer fee.
Yeah. That's what, academy players aren't taking, 100k, 150k a week.
No.
They're taking, they're barely making double figures, aren't they? In thousands. But it's just that's why I support the reason as to why to use the academy players.
Yeah.
Matt, what are your thoughts on the possible signing of Ross Barkley?
See, I won't be too harsh about it, but I think it would be a waste of money, frankly, because I rate Ross Barkley as a player. I think his mentality is wrong. He's far too aggressive in the game, which I don't think is something that we've adopted at our club.
No.
To have I think sometimes we see Dele Alli get frustrated and lash out, and I discourage that, because all it's going to do is lead to yellow or a red card.
Yeah, as we saw
But
at Chelsea.
the problem I see is Barkley being a centre attacking mid. I feel last season that was our strongest position for players. We were playing Kane up front with Son, Ali, and Ericsson as all strong, very suited to that position players, and we were getting wins left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
Now, considering how much they want and how much he wants to be paid, if we're bringing him in to be a backup player, I think that's ridiculous. Because he's going to cost more than all of those players combined, and I don't think he's as good as any of them.
That is a good
I think they can all do a better performance on the pitch. Whereas I would not want us to buy Barkley without any other intention than putting him on the bench. But to spend that much and then put him on the bench is also something that I wouldn't like. So I think the whole decision of signing him would be wrong.
Yeah, I can understand that completely. It's just the only thing is this summer has been insane for transfers. Neymar's going for 1 million. I think nowadays
Mbappe is going.
You just, if you want someone, you have to pay more than 30 million at least, I'd say.
Yeah.
If you look at a game, let's say the Chelsea 4-2 winning the FA Cup semi-final. We're drawing 2-2 with Chelsea at Wembley. And who have you got to bring on off the bench? You've got Nkudu, someone who's never been proven in England. You've got Sissoko, someone who looks to be a flop. Or you could bring on Ross Barkley, proven, scored goals for Everton, played for England. I just think he'd be a bit...
It was also
I think we can personally get someone better for cheaper that would be more interested in a role of coming off the bench. I was looking at a player in the German league called Max Meyer that we were linked to ages ago from Schalke.
Yeah.
I thought he'd be perfect for the role, because I heard rumours we inquired and they said about 20 million, and I think that's a suitable price to pay for someone who's just going to be on the bench if anyone else in that position is fit. But what I do think is we need to get very well proven players in weakened positions. So the strong players like Harry Kane can rest when a Champions League group stage game is on, so he's ready for a weekend game in the Prem. Because I reckon that is our main focus, the Prem.
Yeah.
But I also would like to see us challenge in the Champions League because it was shambolic last year.
It's terrible.
Talking about the Champions League and looking forward to the next of the season, let's look at our season predictions. So I'm going to ask you one by one. Who do you think Spurs' most valuable player will be this season and why? Matt, who do you think will be Spurs' most valuable player this season and why?
Christian Eriksen.
Yes, good choice. I was going to say him.
I think he has been last year as well.
Since January, I'd say he's been fantastic.
Not as much popping up and getting goals, which he also has been doing, but the key assists and passes he plays, if you look back on almost any goal, he'll have a direct link to that goal.
Yeah, 100%.
I was watching a compilation of all the goals last season. It was something like 117. And he either provided a pass or an assist in every single goal.
Yeah.
And without him, and that pinpoint passing, I don't think we challenge even. I think he's so crucial to our squad.
And that's the thing. People outside, people who don't support Spurs, I don't think the media give him enough attention for what he does.
You think Ali, Kane, because they're the ones on the end of the passes. And I'm not knocking them because they have to finish it, and that's brilliant as well. But I think I always watch Eriksen when Spurs are passed it around, see what he's doing.
Yeah.
And I find if nothing's going on in the attack and they're just passing it around the back, he'll drop back into sort of a CDM role, and from that point he'll move forward and pick a pass.
Yeah. And
that's how we score goals.
He's just so creative, and he brings so much to the team. I think he's really underrated at Spurs.
He is our playmaker. And that's an understatement because he is involved in everything that we were successful with last season.
Exactly. Tom, who do you think Spurs' most valuable player will be this season?
In my opinion, Moussa Dembele.
Oh yeah, a fantastic.
He's mainly the catalyst that gets everything. Yeah, everything. He gets everything going in the team.
Good shout.
He makes tackles.
That's my second option.
Forward, he makes key passes.
He's
just so hard to get the ball off of.
We're passing out from the back. Alderweireld passes it to Dembele.
Yeah.
You just know that he's going to push and he's just going to go all the way up the pitch and just pass to someone like Eriksen, like Ali, and we'll just score a goal from it. He just makes he makes the transition from defence to attack, and it just looks so simple as he just runs up the pitch. It's fantastic.
If you don't mind me adding it, what I will say is, just a question: who do you value more, Vertonghen or Alderweireld?
I'd say last season, Vertonghen. I think he's fantastic.
I'd agree. I think Alderweireld is a lot highly rated than Vertonghen. However, I think Vertonghen does a lot more tracking back and last-ditch tackles.
Yeah.
Not to knock Toby, because he's obviously amazing.
Yeah.
And for the price we bought him for, he's probably one of our best signings to date.
Yeah.
But I think Vertonghen doesn't get the credit he deserves in the defence, because I think the defensive record is so key around those two players that he almost has such a responsibility to live up to the quality that Alderweireld is, and I think he does it, if not more.
Yeah.
What would you say, Louis, from an outsider's point of view?
I'd probably say Dele Alli, just because I think currently he's in his prime. On the weekend, I think he was very lucky not to come off with an injury, considering the tackles that were thrown at him.
That Matt Ritchie one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that one especially. But he's going to be scoring goals for fun this season. I think he's probably going to bag at least 15 goals and 15 assists. He's going to be setting up. He's going to be setting up Harry Kane. He's just going to help Spurs push up the table. It's going to really pressurise Chelsea, Man City, Arsenal. So you never know. But definitely Dele Alli, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic that all three of you, none of you said Harry Kane. Bearing in mind he scored got the Golden Boot 2 seasons in a row now. It just shows you how much quality Spurs have throughout the starting 11.
Yeah, I think he's almost the star boy that gets all the credit, whereas I think we probably don't have the best players in the league, but we're the best team.
I think starting 11, best team.
We have and that from a completely unbiased view, I think that every single position comes together to make such a well-oiled unit that can just, once we get in the flow of it, we'll just destroy a team.
It's just a joy
And
to
we
watch.
saw that at the end of last season.
Yeah.
We were scoring goals for fun. We were scoring good goals, which I also enjoyed. Like Son would get on the end of a ball and score a volley or something. And I want him to return to fitness as soon as possible because I think he's not a bench player.
No, not at all.
He definitely should be recognised as like one of our main players now.
A fantastic season for him last season. The next question is league finish. Where do you guys think we're going to be finishing in the league? Personally, I think the aim for this season should be challenge for top 4. Just get us through Wembley. Just get us to that new stadium. Let us have Champions League football. Keep all the players together, and just treat this as a transitional season. I think I really don't think we can push for the title this year.
No, I agree.
I just think Wembley's going to be very difficult for us. I don't think it's going to cost us Champions League, but I do think it's going to just be that little bit harder.
In my opinion, I have a very versatile prediction for where we'd finish because at this stage, I am certain that if nothing changes, we will get 5th.
Yeah.
Because I think Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United and Man City are all better than us at this stage. They're teams.
Yeah.
And they will be chasing them up until the last doors. But I think if we make 2 or 3 solid signings in the positions that we're lacking, so say if the Toby Alderweireld's do get injured, we've got that Sanchez guy to bring in.
Yeah.
Which isn't a weakness or a downgrade, but if anything, it's just a direct replacement.
Yeah, it's just another player.
I reckon we could push as much as 3rd if we get the transfers we need.
Yeah.
Which I think will be good with how much the other teams have improved.
Louis, what are you thinking for Spurs this season in the league?
It's a tough one, really, because I think this season's transfer. It's quite a hard one, to be honest.
It's really difficult.
Yeah. I don't know, because Manchester United, I reckon, have just been awoken. Just they're going to be a huge power in the Premier League again, and I think they're probably going to be at the same level as Spurs, maybe at their best.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm thinking probably 2nd or 3rd again. Give it a couple of years, I reckon Spurs will finally win the Premier League.
I do think we can. If we just keep pushing, if we keep having Champions League, we'll get there in the end.
Yeah.
And I think, like I said before, I just do think this.
It's
this
only a
season's
matter of time before we do get.
Yeah, I really hope so. I would love to say that I've seen the Spurs win the title in my lifetime. So lastly on the agenda, Champions League. Obviously, last season was pretty diabolical. Champions League campaign. Went out in the group stages. Only managed to beat CSK Moscow.
God.
Then we went to the Europa League and lost to Ghent. Europe was pretty shambolic. Posh didn't even play the first team for
Shocking.
the games.
No, I didn't personally understand that because if you think about it, he was obviously resting players for the Premier League, and in a roundabout way, he's resting players to try and get back into the Champions League, even though we were in the Champions League.
Yeah, it's just...
Which seems like, take your chance whilst you're there. This is the biggest trophy, if you were to ever challenge for it, that you'd get the most recognition for. I'd much prefer us to win the Prem than the Champions League, but with how we played, we didn't look a shadow of ourselves in the Prem. We seemed scared and daunted by Wembley, and I think next week will really show if we can adjust. Because although with the point that one game doesn't make that much of a difference, if we truly look weak against Chelsea, I reckon that could be a forecast for how Spurs play under the pressure of Wembley.
Yeah. Obviously, Chelsea will be a big game. I think one of the real ways to tell if we're going to be doing well this season is Burnley. They're our next home game after Chelsea. Because Chelsea, the fans will be behind you. It's a big London derby, our main rivals in the Premier League. I think the atmosphere will be good inside Wembley. But when you're playing a team like Burnley, it's going to be hard to motivate. It's going to be hard to get that feeling of a Premier League game inside Wembley. So, where do you think we're actually going to do in the Champions League this year, Matt? Do you think we'll progress through the group stage, round 16, quarters? What are you thinking?
I'm going to be ambitious and say Poch does bring in some players that will help deepen our squad, and I think round of 16 will be as far as we go, which will be obviously an improvement. But if we were to go round of 16 and make it back into the Champions League, I'd be happy with that. But if that is the challenge and then we don't make Champions League, I think that's a weak performance on our part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I genuinely think we could get to the quarters if we played our first team every game. I think we could get to the if we were lucky with the draws. I think we could get to the quarters.
Yeah, because the idea of resting players it just blows my mind. If they're getting paid, triple figure thousands a week, it's just they should be playing at least twice, really.
Yeah.
Like a game away at CSKA Moscow shouldn't really tire them out. Especially with Spurs' training facilities, they're top quality, so they should be able to maintain their fitness and all that. But I don't know, we'll see.
Okay, so just before we end up, we've got a listener question. So if you ever have a listener question that you'd like to ask on the podcast and to be featured, then just DM me on Instagram. My Instagram is @Tottenham.fanpage. So if you have any questions, please do DM them to me. But the question for this week is from Spurs_religion, and his question is: do you agree that more money needs to be put into our players' salaries? For example, Alderweireld is only on 50k a week, and Rose on 30k a week, and they are the two best defenders in the league. Which is a good question. Thank you so much. So do you think more money needs to be put into salaries instead of maybe investing in transfers? Personally, I think Alan Shearer said it the other day. Why do players deserve more money? Danny Rose has come out in the press and said that he thinks he deserves more money. He hasn't done anything. He hasn't won anything.
Yeah.
When he starts winning,
He's been injured as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he has no performances to go off of.
Exactly. You've been injured for 6 months. The club has been keeping you, been paying for your bills, been keeping you awake. You've done nothing. You've won nothing, and then you ask for more money. What makes you think that you're good enough to go somewhere else and win if you can't win at Spurs? You've got the team to win, so you're the only one who can make the difference.
Yeah.
But obviously, I do think we should be putting more money into the salary, which because it's just if we lost Ali, if we lost Kane, we just wouldn't be able to recover. It would just be impossible. And
I think certain players like Alderweireld, who week in week out is a key player to our success. I don't think he should need to ask for it, because I reckon there'd be a necessary boost for how well he's playing in correspondence to how much other players in the Premier League get paid. Because I'm sure we're not lacking money to give our players wages.
People like West Brom are paying their players more than we pay Danny Rose. It's just,
so I do agree that we need to be putting more money into it.
It's just stingy rather than a necessity, I think.
If anything, I think it sounds arrogant from Danny Rose to ask for more, because I think if he came up, and I believe whilst he's been out, Ben Davies has almost been better than him.
Yeah, he's been fantastic, to be honest.
So if anything, he'd be a second choice left back, which makes me think there's no need to improve your wages. But at his prime, Danny Rose was really good. So I think yes, you should improve it, but don't not a vast amount, just maybe to the 50,000s.
There's just
like Alderweireld is.
He deserves more money, but I feel like he should have gone and spoken to Poch or Daniel Levy personally instead of going to the Sun and putting it in the papers.
Yeah.
There's just no need for that, and it's just disrespected the club and his teammates and everyone involved, I think. Okay, so thank you very much for listening. I think that's the end of the podcast there. Thank you, Louis. Thank you, Tom, and thank you, Matt, for coming on.
No problem.
Thanks for having us.
No problem.
If you'd like your question to be featured on next week's podcast, please do drop me a DM or drop me a comment on my Instagram at Tottenham.fanpage. You can listen to this podcast on YouTube. Look for There's Only One Tottenham, or you can listen to us on iTunes. There's Only One Tottenham. Thank you so much for listening. We'll look forward to seeing you next week, and please do tell a friend. Thanks. Bye.
Goodbye.